Hi, my name's Mike Grant from Musical Youth, and you're watching World Music Views.
Hi, my name is Dennis Seaton from Musical Youth, and you're watching World Music Views.
How are you doing?
I'm very
Congratulations.
well. It's cold here, you know. I bet it's hot in Jamaica, though, ain't it?
It's not England cold, but it's not too hot. It was hot in the summer.
Yeah.
It was really hot in the summer, but now it's cooling down. It's a little Christmas.
Yeah. We're -3 at the moment, if you want to know. I'm sure it's colder in Canada.
Yeah. How long you been in the music industry?
I've been in the industry since I was 14, so that's 42 years. And yeah.
And were you in church before?
No. I didn't. Well, when I was young, I used to go to Sunday school. And then when the day before my 18th birthday, I gave my life to Christ. That was when I was in the band. So
while you're in the band singing Pastor Dutchie on the left-hand side,
yeah,
the Lord gave you the Holy Grail.
You could say that.
So what was that like as an artist and a Christian artist?
Well, to reconcile it, we weren't singing about anything bad. We were singing about a cooking pot. So we're innocent kids. And there's been some confusion about Pastor Dutchie, which was caused by a newspaper here, a racist newspaper, who tried to make out that the song was about drugs. But then the Americans took it another way. And because we were singing about cooking pot, they thought we were talking about cooking pot.
Like cocaine.
No, weed.
Oh, cooking pot. Oh, I get it. Cooking pot.
You see, you get it now. You're going. When I heard it, I was laughing because I was like, when we toured America in August, I had to explain to people, look, you got a bunch of kids. We're all teenage. Well, 4 out of 5 of us are teenagers. If we were singing about drugs, the song would have been banned. So yeah, that's misconception.
Who produced the song? I saw Don Letts did the music video, right? But who produced?
Yeah, Don Letts did the video. The song was produced by a guy named Peter Collins, who went on to produce. He's big. He was mainly a rock producer, so he produced Yes, who were Canadian, and Nick Kershaw. He did quite a few actually. Yeah, but yeah, he produced it.
And Pastor Dutchie is really a sing-over of Pastor Dutchie.
That's right. So that's where
it's about drugs.
Right. So that's why we have to change the lyric. So we have to change it from Cutchie to Dutchie.
So you were aware of the Mighty Diamonds before?
Yeah, because it was the Mighty Diamonds song was Pastor Cutchie was the #1 song in 1981 in the reggae charts in the UK. So we used to perform it as Pastor Cutchie, but then the record company, recognized that this song is blowing up the place, and is there any way we could change the lyric? And that's what we did.
So you changed the lyric while the song was already out?
No. The song was on its way down in the reggae charts. It didn't touch the charts, the UK popular charts at all. So, yeah, when we changed the lyric, we knew we had to change the lyric.
Okay. So how did you sign a record deal? Based on what did you get the record deal?
The record deal was signed because, firstly, the band, before I joined the band as the lead singer, Fred Waite Sr. was the lead singer. And the band had done, there's a radio DJ called John Peel. And they'd recorded a song called Political in General. And John Peel played it. All the A&R guys used to listen to John Peel's show for who he chose. And that's how they got interested. But the record deal wasn't signed until the interest was shown. But because Fred was in his 30s, as I said. The record company asked if they could find somebody more of the guy, rest of the band's age, which was me. That's how it went.
Okay. So what was the band formed? Like it was a record company putting it together, or you guys knew each other?
No, this was totally organic. So Michael and Calvin, their dad knew Fred Waite Sr. He had Patrick and Junior, so they were learning drums and bass. Michael was keyboards, Calvin was guitar. And I was best friends with Junior and Patrick. And that's how the band was formed initially.
Wow.
So it was all organic. It wasn't put together by any record company. There was no money thrown at it. It was all hard work.
And Wade's father was a part of the Techniques.
Yes, Fred Waite Sr. was a part of the Techniques. That's where he got his grounding.
I see where you got influence from Sugar Minott, and I just interviewed Sugar Minott's wife just before you.
Okay.
And she told me to ask you about Sugar Minott and one more person. I don't remember the name.
Tony Owens.
No, not the name.
Jackie Mitu.
Mitu, yeah. What was the relationship with Mitu and Sugar Minott?
So the first time I ever entered the studio, I mean, bear this in mind, Junior, that I went to the very first musical youth rehearsal, the very first one, but I was banned from the second one and the rest until I joined the band. And then the first time I went into the studio in London, we actually went to do backing vocals for Sugar Minott, who was just riding high in the charts in the UK with Good Thing Going. And Jackie worked with Sugar as well. So Sugar took us under his wing. So when we visited and played in Jamaica, Sugar was always there with us, helping us out. And the relationship just developed from that, really. When he stayed here in the UK, we used to spend time with him in the studio when we could go to the studio. And then Jackie helped UB40 with their first Labour of Love album. But then he also helped out us with some musical arrangements as well. We didn't realize that Jackie was one of the original writers of the rhythm Full Up, which led to the Pastor Dutchie rhythm, him and Leroy Sibbles. We didn't realize that. I didn't know that. But I subsequently got to find out. And Jackie and myself shared the same birthday. And Jackie actually toured Ghana with us one Christmas 1985. He toured Ghana with us.
So Leroy Sibbles is credited on Pastor Dutchie.
Yeah.
As producer writer?
No, he was one of the original writers. Because if you remember Jamaican publishing back in the 60s, 70s, it was all over the place, wasn't it? So still you see the writers now.
It still is.
Yeah, of course. And it's wrong, because there's people who've gone in, made their money and stepped out. And we suffered the same kind of fate, so to speak.
Do you have problems getting your publishing from this song or any songs?
Well, this song, again, we had to change the lyric. It's known out there. But for some reason, our lawyer and our manager decided they weren't going to do anything about it. So we had to get a musicologist in to check. The musicologist went in. But then when we approached the lawyer and we got it to court, the judge said no. So we had to just step back and just take it on the chin, so to speak. It's not nice, but then I suppose that's the music business, isn't it?
So who gets the publishing for this song?
There's 11 different publishers on that song.
Who are they?
Oh gosh. So the Mighty Diamonds, Mr. Ferguson and Simpson, they get theirs. As far as I know, I don't know who they are. Then Leroy Sibbles, Jackie Mitu's estate, I don't know. I'm only stating what I know. I don't know if their estate is getting it, if you understand. I can't guarantee that. All I know is that we brought a case. We had to issue some affidavits and writs. And yeah, it
And
just left us out.
to this day, you never collected a publishing check from them?
Not from Dutchie.
So how do you monetize the popularity, it being a top Spotify reggae song? How do you monetize
Sales and performance. But then again,
Say that again. What was the first thing you said?
Sales and performance royalties.
Yeah.
So that's basically
no publishing.
No, not at all.
So whenever the song sells, or it's in your best interest for the song to sell.
Always. If you remember, I don't. You might. How old are you? I don't know how old you are. You're a baby to me.
I'm 39.
There you go. So the song's older than you.
Yeah.
But in
this year, 40 years since it's been out, right?
No. This year will be 42 years.
42 years.
It's 41 years this year. 42 years next year. Last year was the 40th anniversary.
Okay.
I suspect. Yeah, let me think now. So it was physical records that was sold back then. Mm-hmm. So artists used to get paid on the physical sale. Now you get paid on streaming, and you just heard Spotify come out and say they're not paying out any money unless you get 1,000 streams. You know, so which I think again is wrong.
So will that affect you and Pastor Dutchie in what way?
It won't affect us because we're artists from the 80s. So the artists in the 80s got a slightly better deal. We had more, I suppose I could say we had more control in terms of the physical sales. We didn't have more control about how many physical sales were made because record companies weren't completely honest with how many physical sales, if you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. And that's known practice. If somebody wants to argue with me, they can, but you know.
Which label was Pastor Dutchie released on?
We were signed with MCA, okay. Music Corporation of America. It's now Universal. Yeah, and you know Universal have bought of Ireland and Polydor and Polygram and
yeah.
So
you know. I saw where one of the Mighty Diamonds member, Max Romeo, right?
Yeah. I just saw it.
He filed a suit for 15 million US.
Yeah, I was reading that off your
7 years of royalties.
Yeah, but you know what, Junior? They'll invoke the statute of limitations and only take it back to 6. You know, and it's something I know to my great regret. Not regret, because if you don't, you've got to try and have failed to find out what's actually gone on. And 40 odd years in the business, it's still the same. The record companies will, how can I say, treat artists, and specifically the black and reggae artists get a raw deal. We get the rawest deals. I mean, Musical Youth was only on 10% of whatever the record company made. Whatever Universal made, we were on 10%. And we still get knocked back for that, you know. So I suppose we were lucky in so much as we didn't end up owing the record company any money.
How much money have you made from the song?
I don't know.
As a group?
My honest answer is I could not tell you.
How much money the song generated? 100 million? How much? In terms of sales? I have some numbers, but in terms of what it has generated.
Physical sales? Or it's over 100 million. It was 5 million sales on the single alone. Yeah. And then you got to go through all the films that they put it in. There's 2 films that I know Dutchie was in. It was in The Wedding Singer and it was in Scooby-Doo 2. I couldn't tell you. I'd have to go and have a look.
But you never made no money from those?
Yeah, we made money. I'm not going to say we never made any money. We never made as much money as we should. And at the time, I was being taxed, even at 16, at 40% of whatever I made. So every pound I made, I only made 60p. But I did make a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money in relative terms, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I'm still getting paid now 40 years later. So
from that one song.
You
Have
could-
you done
yeah.
any albums? How many albums?
Yeah, we did 2 albums. We've actually done 3 albums now because when the third album, when Reggae Was King was our 4th album, but there was one before that that never really got released properly. So I'm just looking at re-recording that and putting that together, packaged together. And it's a lot more straightforward now because obviously because of the digital world, you can see what's going on now. So nobody can say, no, that's not right. So when you guys came up with, here's Michael. When you guys,
Hello. Hi.
Mike, you all right?
Good, Michael.
Just turning my camera on. I'm actually, how you doing?
You're cool.
Is Michael the band member that shows up late for the gig?
It's freezing. It's like minus.
Family, you know, Junior.
Michael, are you the band member that shows up late for the gig?
Are you kidding me? I was there at 3 o'clock and then I'm no answer. So I'm like, you crazy? So then I'm going to the kids up, get them something.
You were.
Else you'd never have seen me.
You were. I apologize. I had another interview that I was wrapping up.
Yeah.
It's all good. How are you?
Yeah, so Dennis and I were talking about how much money the Pastor Dutchie made and how much publishing you didn't get because of the writer's case in court. From your perspective, just tell me about how that case was brought to court and how you feel about that.
For me, it's as I've gotten older, it's not been as bad as when I was younger. So my perspective on life is that, you know what, Dennis and I have had it good because here we are today enjoying the success again. Other members of the band have passed away, unfortunately, and done different things and had different, followed different paths. So now I'm older, I can look at it with a more, a better perspective. At the time, I was really angry. I was really bitter because I thought that, why us? What did we do to deserve this? But then, as time goes on, you start to see that there's lots of worse things that have happened to other band members, and stuff like that. So you're like, you know what? Fine. So yeah, I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I'm just happy that, Dennis and I are still friends and still touring. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I'm having so much fun now. And if you had given me this and said to me, 40 years ago, you and Dennis will still be touring, I'd have taken it. I'd have definitely taken it. It's like, hanging out with your best friend for the last 40 years has been the privilege, honestly.
There's a conversation around touring versus focus on streaming, right?
Yeah.
My program, World Music Views, I started in 2018 because I saw Leo Cohen, who is the head of YouTube, say, now will be the most lucrative time for the music industry because streaming is coming and it's going to revolutionize. So I decided to start a chart show that highlights streaming before it became integrated in Jamaica or most places, right? A lot of people are upset because I have disrupted their idea of the music industry, which is to get a band, make a record, go on tour. You don't really have to sell much. Just go on tour. Now I'm putting it on TV that you have to sell, you have to stream, you have to have good numbers. What is your take on artists who just focus on not owning any rights, not owning nothing, just focus on touring alone?
Well, if they're not owning any rights, they're doing themselves a disservice. I was just having this discussion with my kids today. Well, my kids are grown up, but from the time I've started recording, Junior, I was told a true artist only makes their money when they're dead. Case in point, Elvis Presley, Bob Marley, and you understand? Because they're not there anymore. But what we have noticed, and we're lucky because we've come through a generation of serious record sales. So when we started, you had to play live. You recorded your album, you went out and promoted the album, then a year later you record another album. I mean, that's how hard they worked, yeah. Now they can do 2-3 years before they do a next album, if you understand what I'm saying. But every artist and their dog now, if you look at it, they're out on the road touring, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, and they look at the numbers against physical streaming. Remember, artists, when they go on the road, it will increase their interest in that product, in that artist, and their music. So it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? You get the immediate money from the promoters, and if you've done that 360 deal, which we never did because we don't have to, the record companies are taking a piece of the tour budget, piece of the merchandise, piece of anything that comes off that artist. They're breaking off a piece, but the piece is that big. There's enough for everybody, where before there wasn't. So it's changed. The streaming has changed everything.
It has. It really
had to. It had to. And if you think about it, try and carrying around. It's easier to carry around a phone and your laptop than it is to carry around a bunch of CDs, because we all had the CD. We've all got the CDs. We've all got the DVDs. But what are they doing? They're now sitting gathering dust. if the truth be known, they're gathering dust. You know, I don't even have music on my phone. I don't have to. Why? Because I've got my own server in my house. I can just dial up, get my music that I want off my server. Even, I mean, the benefits of YouTube. I was watching somebody the other day and he's saying that, what's the point of doing a music video, spending that time on a music video? Where's it going to play? Is it going to play on MTV? Is it going to play on YouTube? He actually, and it made sense. He actually said, you're going to spend money to try and get that video played. Why bother? He said, just video everything that you do, make 3 months of content and put it up online. Somebody will watch it. You know?
Yep. Content is
big.
More sellable, because if you can tell a story. Now, music videos are still good, because you can also monetize that.
Yeah.
But content is as you said, part of it. Why don't you drop a new album? Your last one was 2018.
Yeah.
Why don't you drop more music more often?
Well, I think it's because I'm more old school, Yeah. I see all these artists just bang, 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 and you lose. I have, when Reggae Was King was a labor of love for me, because it was when I was doing my university degree, and then I did my master's, and I wanted something that I could carry on from. So that's where when Reggae Was King was born out of. Now we're just about to start recording a new album, and I'm just thinking about how the project will work in terms of how would I like to take it forward, how me and Mike want to take it forward. So you asking that question, that is already in motion. That is already, and if you think about recording, it's so much easier to record now. You don't have to have a big ass studio anymore. I can record on this very laptop that I'm talking to you on, and it would come out
better
quality. When we recorded when Reggae Was King, I think the lead guitars for I Shot the Sheriff was done on this very table that I'm talking to you from when I recorded it. So in terms of being able to record, it's always the same, but it's always been, and this is me as an artist who understands what needs to be done. It's always been about the song. It's always been about the song. If the song is any good, it will last and people will pick it up. The only difference now is the big majors still have the budget to promote their artists. That will always be the same because they've got that money to promote that artist. But what I say is, look, I don't need the majors to get my music out anymore. And when I'm doing live gigs, guess what? I can promote that music. I don't have to play the old album. I can still play. We still play Dutchie. We still play all the hits, all the songs that made us popular in the 80s and reached the top 40 in the charts. And and we also understand how we helped push reggae music forward. And that's why I put that statement.
I was about to say that. I was about to say, I don't think you realize that you have a fan base that they're just there.
I know.
Like the fact that they stream 200 million.
Yeah.
200 million streams of your song that you released in.
That's just on Spotify, right?
Exactly. That's on Spotify alone.
That's just on Spotify.
Which means it's way more elsewhere that people listen, right? When you put it all together. you have a fan base that they're just fans of your music.
Yes.
They
And-
want to pass the Dutchie towel. They want to pass the Dutchie everything. Who owns the IP, by the way? Who owns Pass the Dutchie?
Pastor Dutchie's on. Well, we own it, I suppose, but we haven't. I suppose we haven't. What haven't we done, Mike? We haven't registered it, have we?
Yeah.
But again,
but your whole brand. Yeah, Michael, go ahead. Answer the question.
No, the thing is that, I just really want to kind of echo what Dennis is saying. I don't want to be an echo chamber, but I do want to say that, having been in the industry a long time and seeing the way it's gone, talent is always talent. And the reason why people struggle today is because the computer's great. And what has happened is, with the computer, we've got a lot of people that cannot play an instrument. You can now go to Berkeley and get a degree or a master's in music without playing an instrument. That was unheard of, totally unheard of. But because people come up with these things called beats, and I'm not going to embarrass anybody, but there's a few producers out there that call themselves producers and cannot play. And so the problem you have now is that because those producers cannot play, then you're getting almost real standardized music. And then you had Simon Cowell coming along and doing his own thing with the X Factor and making it so that it was only pop music that was heard. So if you think about it, when we were around, musical youth could be around with Bob Marley, could be around with U2, could be around with Oasis, could be around. I can name all these other bands, different genres of music.
Oasis wasn't around when we were around, Mike.
Okay, fair enough. Oasis, but I was just using them as an example as I grew up a guitar band. But
you're still around, though. You're still around.
That's right. That's the key factor.
All of these artists, then, wouldn't have stood a chance today because Simon Cowell is not going to put reggae on X Factor, nor is he going to put jazz, nor is he going to put. And so, therefore, what you have is this sort of whitewashing of music, and so Dennis and I were born in the right era where we were able to express ourselves and be heard. The reason why you don't hear big reggae hits anymore, or big jazz hits, or big, other hits outside of pop music is because no one can flourish, because the record companies have gone down this, blinkered vision of thinking, well, it has to be pop. It has to sound a certain way. And so therefore, if it doesn't come from the X Factor or American Idol or anything like that, it isn't happening. And I feel that's sad, because when you go out, when Dennis and I go touring, you get all these people are saying, oh my God, it's great. We love reggae. We just can't hear enough of it and whatever. And that's simply because, the record companies don't promote that. So going back to the point of, is the computer a good thing, and and what's basically happening in the world right now, we are lucky because we can play. So for the rest of my life, Dennis and I can tour. But these bands today, the reason why they're here today, gone tomorrow, is because it's very difficult to tour when you can't play. What are people listening to? They might as well go and hear a DJ for $20. Then they're gonna pay $100 to see you stand there with a computer. Come on, that's just not entertaining. And that's the reality that we believe now. Do you know what I'm saying?
So going back to...
You got nominated for a Grammy before the Grammy at a reggae category.
That's right.
We did. Exactly. And case in point, what Michael's getting across.
What was the category?
We were Best Newcomers, June. So we were alongside Culture Club, who eventually won it. Big Country, Eurythmics. That's who we were alongside.
Best Newcomers.
Best Newcomers. That's what
that category don't exist anymore.
No, but you see, back then it was, if you got a Grammy nomination.
What year? Hold on. What year was that?
1983.
1983.
If you got a Grammy nomination back then, that put an extra 100,000 sales on your album.
Easily. Because
you can now put Grammy nominated artists. Do you understand what I'm saying? That was physical sales. They don't have to do that anymore now. And I was actually exploring, I was talking to Michael all over the summer about why. I was reading your article today about there's only 6% of it representing reggae. And it was only last year that they had the reggae section in the live section. A lot of people don't realize how long that show actually goes on. It's a 4 hour.
Years.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 4-hour show,
Yeah.
but they only bring it down to this. And I remember
What was
watching.
that on TV? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's almost like, oh, we better give them something because they're there. If you understand what I'm saying. When we were at that Grammys, Michael Jackson picked up his 8. Wynton Marsalis picked up best jazz and best classical trumpeter or musician. So you can imagine the diversity there, but the representation of reggae music wasn't there. And
we're the only reggae band at the award at the time.
Yes. Because obviously Bob had passed away, and the industry, the whole of the industry, was looking for the next Bob Marley. And at one point, our hometown had the most reggae artists selling the most records: UB40, Musical Youth, Apache Indian, Steel Pulse. Steel Pulse won a Grammy.
Yeah, Pato Banton.
So yes. Pato Banton. We're throwing out artists from Birmingham and shifting numbers. So we look at it and we say, wow. But then we're not DJs, because we see the DJs, the Sean Pauls and Shabbas of this world. They're more like rappers to us, aren't they? That's what they are to us. We toast. But the artists, the reggae artists like the Beanie Mans and the Berries Hammonds of this world got pushed to the back because the music wasn't fast enough for people.
Yeah.
So you look at it and you go, wow. But to me and Michael and our generation, that is music. That reggae music is that culture, the culture of reggae music. We recognize the difference between Jamaican reggae and British reggae, 2 different styles, same formula. And Musical Youth sits in and I've had to reconcile this, because Musical Youth sits in a funny spot in terms of we're appreciated, in terms of we turn people onto reggae music. But then we also appeal to a broad spectrum of people. Black, white, yellow, and green. We appeal to a broad spectrum. And I noticed that all through the summer. And when we go and play,
it's that sound. It's very childlike.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
your voice.
It's the voices. I mean, my voice is broken, so I don't have to worry about singing the songs. I don't have to worry about singing the songs at all, But I also recognize that there's guys, artists that were around when we were around. They're now in their 60s, going into their 70s. We're not even at our 60s yet.
Exactly.
So we're still the youngest bands out there. Still the youngest band out there.
And as I said, I'm really grateful that I'm still doing it. I am so blessed because, we can talk about, people not getting paid and people not this. I was watching a documentary the other day. I think I was telling Dennis about it. Little Richard didn't get paid for Tutti Frutti. Everybody knows that song. And he never got paid. Are you kidding me? So here I am sitting here in my nice house, my beautiful wife and 3 kids. And I'm thinking, it isn't that bad. Life isn't that bad. We've got something out of it. Now, did we get what we would deserve? No. Were we ripped off? Yes. But when you compare us to a lot of other artists, Musical Youth did perfectly fine. Dennis is the same way. He's got a nice house, beautiful wife, kids and everything. He's a granddad now. And the point is, at the end of the day, to be able to come out on the other side with all your faculties, not high on drugs, not in a rehabilitation center, not all of that, we have to thank God. You can't, you know what I'm saying? It's so easy to say, oh my God, woe be me. Look what happened, to all these other bands who weren't as talented and who weren't as this. And look how they ended up and, they've got so much money. And here we are, And I'm like, no, we got to look and say, thank God we're here. We got to thank God, because 40 years later, if you had given me this and said, listen, I'm going to be interviewing you 40 years from now, trust me, I'd have been like, yeah, whatever. If you had said Dennis and I would still be going together, I'd be like, no, because the reality is that most bands split up because of whatever the reason is. But we are still going, still passing that Dutchie on the left-hand side, and people are still acknowledging us. Even kids that weren't born at the time come up to us and say, hey, I love that track. I found you on Stranger Things. Now, Stranger Things is 2 years old, but yet still they're talking about Pastor Dutchie as if it just happened. And you see the enthusiasm in them and the joy they're getting from this song. And you're like, man, you're like,
we didn't know. We didn't know.
That's right. Fine.
We got 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, and I would love to see, like, you guys on tour. When was the last time you came to Jamaica to perform?
Oh gosh, we haven't been to Jamaica since 1985.
Wow,
that was the last time I was in Jamaica.
Wow. Were you guys have any connection at all to Jamaica?
Michael's family's from Jamaica.
My family from Jamaica. But again, you know, if you've got a promoter that wants to bring us out there, we'll definitely come.
Tell them.
Any promoter out there that wants to see Musical Youth live, just call us, man, and we'll be there.
Yep.
I think what my thing is the numbers, and I see it. I see what you're doing. I see the impact. I look at what you have done. You're one of the most successful reggae groups of all time.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of reggae groups sold gold. Not a lot of it's a small amount.
Yes, we know.
Even the biggest dancehall artist, Beanie Man, just got his first gold record last week.
Wow.
Yeah. We don't get out.
In the game for how long, right?
Our record company don't give us
a
that.
goal from the US, right? So understand that you guys are so privileged and you have used what I call cultural capital to make financial capital. That's commendable because you say you're here and you're still doing it now. So my word is keep going, man. Keep going.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Until the wheels fall off and then your generation
and thank you for highlighting the fact that it was 200 million. I keep getting these congratulations. I'm like, what have I done?
Nah, it's big.
On my side.
It's big. That's what we do. Reggae and dancehall is also underreported, so we try to find the successes to highlight it.
Good.
Thank you, man. We'll keep in touch. I'll always text you, message you to get quotations. All right.
No problem.
Promoters to get us over there.
All right.